Don't you know who I am? I'm the Juggernaut!
There we go. And kill the music. And just because I can.
And his name is John Cena!
There we go. Yes, his name is John Cena, and we are back once again for. I love my soundboard. And we are back once again for Modern Age Heroes. We are missing Mike for one other game, and then he'll be back. So in 2 weeks, which would be the 5th, so he should be back. So for that particular game, so looking forward to that. And so since we are back and we're live, does somebody, I guess, aka Hyperion, want to do the recap for us?
Sure. Okay, so let's see. All right, yeah, so last time, we're all still within the strange pseudo-dimension entity thing, along with all of the others in the compound, the underground compound. We had learned that because of the different, sites of strange energy throughout this world, it seems that bits from other realities come crashing through, and that's primarily where everyone's been getting their supplies from, because it's from real worlds and not this world. And at one point, let's see here, I believe it was Black Mass came to Hyperion and informed him that there was one such location that had a quantum signature that matched what we were used to, and it seemed like it was stuff that was coming from our dimension. So, because that'd be great to use that stuff to complete the creation of the interdimensional portal, the Legacy went out along with Thor to narrow down exactly where this wreckage was at this one particular site. When doing some reconnaissance, Hyperion's copies found that Holocaust and a few of her minions were nearby in the same area doing whatever they're doing, but then they managed to actually notice our presence. So then Thor and Angler flew off in pursuit to fight them. Meanwhile, the rest of us spent time looking for and finding and then getting to the actual wreckage site. We got there, and at the same time, all of the so then the fight was happening. The rest of us were getting stuff. Angler laid the smackdown on Holocaust, which then gave Thor the opportunity to slam his hammer and lightning strike into her and the other bad guys to knock them for a loop for long enough for them to then disengage combat, fly back to the rest of us. Meanwhile, Lightbringer had been using her powers to make sure that we were hidden and the wreckage itself was hidden, because it's becoming clearer and clearer that these people are just extensions of this being. Because there are so many of them, they're all weird and they don't act right. And they're just pretty much mindless because they're just small pieces of this entity, it seems. So we were able to fool it, and we're gathering things, but then the strain on keeping all that up was a little too much. The the hologram and whatnot disintegrated, but everyone managed to gather there and picked up pieces of the wreckage, shoved them through teleportation diamonds so that we could get it directly back to the base. And we, just in the nick of time, got all that stuff through the diamond, and all of us crammed through as well, before that entire site turned into like a black body being mass. So therefore, just confirming once again that it's not just the beings, it seems to be the area itself that's part of this entity. So we just barely managed to get all of that stuff back to base. And it turned out that the thing that we got was pieces of a new Prussian dropship. So, which apparently came from a point in time that was the Argentinian conflict that we had gone through. So again, showing that this trans-dimensional entity is actually pulling not just from different realities, but different time periods also. All the more reason for us to create this portal and get the heck out of here. And that's about where we're at. Oh, and it's apparently going to take about 2 days for a prototype portal to be completed. And there you go.
Okay, good. So we are a day out at this point from the events of last game. Anybody want to? We don't have to do. Yeah, we don't have any karma we need to do. Anybody attempting to spend time to train and do a power stunt
Oh,
Yes, please.
before I start, expanding on story, and then everybody say, "Oh, power stunt." So we'll just start over from Brittany and then kind of work our way around. Brittany, do you have anything?
what did we talk about last time? We decided that precognition was precognition is what I was already kind of working on.
Yes.
Oh, the shielding, the radiation shielding, that was not really a power stunt. That was just going to be an actual power usage, right?
Correct. Right. So you were looking to create. So the discussion, if I remember correctly, is you were trying to tie your danger sense into the shielding, which that's not exactly how it would work. You would just need to develop the shield, and then if something happened, your spidey sense would kick you out of the way or throw it up automatically. It wouldn't actually be tied to it directly.
So would forming a shield be a power stunt?
Yes.
Okay.
Because instead, basically, what you're doing is you're making a physical manifestation of the energy.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Like
that
Green
makes-
Lantern, in essence. Like, boing.
And can I change power stunts that I'm attempting? Can I have like more than one that I'm trying, but like only try one per game?
Oh, that's a great question. Because that hasn't really come up. No, so that way it doesn't get difficult. It doesn't become difficult to track. So you'll want to do one at a time and get it to completion.
Okay. Then I guess I'll go ahead and keep trying on the precognition.
Okay.
Let's remember how to roll. Nope, that's not okay. Exclamation. Roll.
Yeah, when in doubt, I think I have it pinned in that particular chat. If not, I can always do it again.
Yellow. Oh, yay. Okay. Yellow. Okay.
So you are focusing to try and predict the future.
Yeah. Oh, we also discussed ways that I could actually like try that, as in like dice or coin flips.
Right. True.
Okay. Cool.
So that's what you're kind of doing right now. You've got like two dice. You have a set of Yahtzee dice. I'll put it that way, to make it a little bit more difficult since you have a higher rating. And you're like, I'm going to get 3 3s and a 2, and 2 2s, and it rolls doesn't match, and then you're like, I'm going to get all 6s, and then it matches. And you're like, ha.
Okay.
Or,
Cool.
Yahtzee.
Exactly. But the real question is, are you going to reinforce that? Or are you going to use negative reinforcement like Venkman did in Ghostbusters?
It's just a couple of wavy lines. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
She could have shown taser.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Did you get it right?
No.
Actually, it could be really interesting to tie in precognition with my illusions, so that I could like see something about to happen and like shield it from being visible,
Oh, I see what you're saying. Gotcha.
or like add onto it so
To
that
to reflexively hide like a chameleon. Okay.
I was thinking more like a masquerade breach kind of a thing, but
That's
yeah,
vampire.
I know. But the concepts.
Right. I get it. I get it. So Angler, did you have anything?
No, I can't see anything right now that he would actually be working on.
Okay. Hyperion?
I think for him, he'd be too focused on trying to complete this thing to devote towards like improving himself.
Shone, I think you had one, right?
Yeah, and I didn't make it.
Okay. Well, so you are trying to make your multiple teleports. Obviously you're able to do like one at a time, but not the multiple like you've really been trying. And Xenofreeze.
Helping as much as I can with the portal.
Mm-hmm.
And since now we have new Prussian technology that's actually fairly current,
Mm-hmm.
looking to see as I'm working with it, I'm like taking notes and stuff for my potential nanotech to see different things to shrink everything down. Because you had said I'm about like a Lego-sized power source, so I'm looking at ways to shrink down different aspects and stuff like that. So
Why don't you get you don't have like your notes or anything with you at this point, but go ahead and give me a reason check.
Okay.
It's not a power stunt, but you're still trying to study, and hopefully you can
Kind
retain
of
that info
remember.
without any stress and get to a place where you can make notes.
Right. Where am I at? Oh.
You dictate it to Hyperion so he remembers it.
92 red.
Nice.
Cool. All right.
Ooh.
So I'm like, oh
Okay.
yeah, that was this.
So at this point, you're definitely going to need his help to get it smaller, within the realm of, his quantum technology.
Mhm.
So being around him enough and seeing some of the projects that he's worked on, at least casually, anyways, you think you have something that, if you get back, back home with your tools and in the safety of a lab and whatnot, you have a theory you can try, and it's definitely going to be something you're going to need to tie Hyperion into. And whose doggy is in the background?
Not mine.
Not a
I think they're mine.
Okay.
Give me a second.
much
Let me
is
put
that?
them up.
Oh yeah, no
How
problem.
much is that doggy in the window?
Rough.
Total about $10,000.
oh
And I can't help but see the irony in my current housing situation, with the AC going out and it being like 105 where I'm at, and playing a cold-based character.
There you go.
I'm like, really? I wish I could just go.
You're no kidding.
I'm like Silent Bob. Like,
raise your hand if you have a fan on you right now.
it's a dual fan, so I'm holding two hands up. It's got the two. It's one of those window units that has two fans.
Yep, I've got an AC and fan going.
Same. I got 2 ACs and a fan going.
So, with that being said, so you guys are working on your respective things first thing in the morning after you wake in this facility. As Xenofreeze and Hyperion, you guys are going over the device, essentially the portal. Ms. Mystic comes to the both of you while you're in the midst of doing this, and she explains She says, I've got an idea for an arcane battery, and I'm wanting to know if you can build it. The premise being that we have some sort of backup source that is not tied to anything in this dimension that will hopefully stabilize the portal should there be a problem with your friend Shone and her power fluctuation. Because I'm anticipating this is probably going to be quite a high power output, and this should hopefully stabilize it for portal stability.
You would be correct about the power demands. It takes an incredible amount to pierce the barrier between realities. Where would the arcane power come from? You directly or somewhere else?
She says it's a working theory, but I anticipate that Black Mass and I uh, could likely power the battery initially. We just need to make sure that it's a battery in the truest sense, that it will hold and retain the power.
I see. I agree with your idea. That would be an excellent backup, and if not, an extra boost of power if we need it. If you have any plans, I'd be happy to take a look through them and help complete them.
As with a battery, the electrolytic cells are stored within certain elements, if you will, with the certain polarities. You know, different types of metal being able to retain a positive or negative charge. Is there a specific type of element or crystal or structure that is more susceptible to being able to be receptive to arcane energies?
She says precious stones typically. We happen to have one on hand. It's a rather large ruby that we were going to essentially put at the center of this. Again, the hope is that we can develop some sort of battery and containment system that will provide a bit of a safeguard for the portal, so that the rest of us can all make it through safely without fluctuation. Because from what Black Mass is telling me is that, and I don't know if he explained this to you before when we were discussing this, is that this is kind of like multiple clocks turning all at once, like clockwork pieces. So even though you may be targeting the right wheel, it may not be in the right position at the right time.
Are you saying we could show up at the wrong time or wrong place?
Correct.
And it's almost impossible to know exactly which time. We could end up being in prehistoric or post-apocalyptic, or
She says, well, that's where all of you come in. If what Black Mass is saying is correct, then the five of you are essentially a piece of a temporal key. The hope is that with the power to the portal, it will lock in with a relative approximation of your time and what area the portal is being specifically opened.
That's why all five of us are the anchor, since we all came directly from that prime dimension. Using our signatures allows us to more accurately pinpoint the space and time we need to enter into. If we
rather
had
than
even
just
more
having one
individuals-
entity.
Precisely. If there were 10 of us who'd come through, the precision would be even greater. But since there are only 5, we have to make do with the 5 of us that are here. So yes, absolutely, if you need assistance, and especially if you have anything working preliminarily so far, I'd be happy to take a look.
Okay. She shows you a rough sketch on paper that she has. She's not a science whiz, but she, has some artistic skill and can show like rough dimensions and like the housing that the ruby is going to need to sit in.
Okay. Then I'll take a look at it and see if I can come up with like what all pieces are needed, and see if I can essentially fill in the scientific gaps to make it
Sure.
a reality.
So you know nothing about mysticism, like squat. So it's going to be a straight reason check.
Okay. For green feet.
All right. So you're not entirely comfortable with the idea because, again, you're dealing with powers beyond mortal ken. But kind of like Richard Reed, it's like, in theory, it should work.
Yeah. Okay.
Or Reed
So then
Richards, I should say.
Right. So he takes like a nearby pen or something and he writes some additional notes like on top of what she's got and goes, this should be at least approximately what we need. I unfortunately am not well versed in arcane studies as you and Black Mass may be, but I believe this would function sufficiently to actually house the energy requiring and deliver it on demand.
She says, okay, then why don't, if it's not too much of a diversion, can you work on getting this assembled, figure out a way to maybe build this in with the overall portal itself? I'm certain we can figure out some sort of incantation to help secure the housing through magic. But if you can at least build the physical receptacle, that's the main piece.
Absolutely. I believe we may have all of the material we need so far. If we need anything additional, I'll let you and Black Mass know, or if I complete it, I'll also let you know as soon as possible.
Okay, excellent. So at that point, she just kind of waves and makes her way on out. Shone or Angler?
Angler is recovering because he did take some like 10 points of damage.
Sure.
And he's meditating on the pearl more.
Okay.
It's either that or stressed out his body to an insane degree, and the relaxation might be good. So
Okay.
he's just trying to meditate.
Meditate. Okay.
Thinking about the pearl, thinking about where he found it, appreciating the pearl for all that it's done for him.
Clutching his pearl.
Well, no one said something inappropriate yet.
Yeah. He's.
The night is young.
Yes, exactly. The night is young.
Oh, won't someone think of the children?
My precious, my precious. Oh, my precious.
And Shone?
She is going to be helping them out as much as she can.
Okay.
So wherever they put her, that's what she works on.
Okie doke. And Megalith is also in here from time to time for heavy lifting.
Oh, yeah,
just
Shone
stuff.
appreciates that.
So, I'm sure.
He was here for something.
So it's like, oh, you wanted it moved over there? Sure. Sort of thing.
You hear a collective sigh.
Right.
Lightbringer.
Is everyone else reacting to him the way that Shone is reacting to him? Or are they just like, he's just one of us?
The other women?
We're over it. Yes.
That's a good question. Let me think.
So we haven't really gotten a feel for the interplay too much among.
Yeah, that's true. It has been kind of go ever since you guys got here for obvious reasons. Let me pull up the squad real quick, and
I'm just curious.
I'll get a beat on that. 1 second. It's a superhero. There we are.
And a bunch of them have been here for like years, so who knows?
Yeah, there's definitely going to be that. That they're a little bit more used to him being around or him being who he is.
Remind me, who were the ones that were here the longest?
Black Mass and Fighting American, I think, have been here have been here a while.
Okay.
And Fighting American was from another timeline, or was he from our timeline?
No, he's actually from another. He's from the same universe as Black Mass.
Oh, okay. It's just like an alternate reality.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
So Fatal is actually kind of into really any of the guys.
She is or is not?
Is
Is. Okay.
is yes. Um,
Are they reciprocating?
I'll leave that up to the rest of the players. Some of the other NPCs, perhaps. She's a little bit more coy about it. Diviner tends to keep to herself, since we're asking about the females. Fathom does a lot of side glances and whatnot, but she's kind of wrapped up in her own world. Miss Mystic is all about the business, as is Grace, and Ruby is also probably pretty keeps to herself. But she also of the group, of the other females in the group, looks the most inhuman too, with her purple, shiny, metallic-looking skin.
Yeah. A kindred spirit as far as that goes, for me.
Yeah, not by touch, but I get where you're going.
Right. My natural state is obviously not human.
So Lightbringer, back to you then.
I will be. What is the status of um, the dropship that we collected?
It is in pieces at this point.
Is there?
And the efforts right now are to be converting that into the portal device. So scrap pieces, as well as any electronics that look like that could be used and salvaged, like it's splayed out in a room and ready to go and be repurposed.
I think she would be sort of overseeing that in case she, because it's probably a little more advanced. I mean, it's more advanced than she's used to. So I don't know about the rest of these people, but since she has the most familiarity with that tech,
That tech, sure.
probably oversee that slash see if there's anything she can learn or like just educating herself on the tech.
Okay. Why don't you give me a reason check then?
Yeah. White.
I'm dreaming of a white result.
Mm-mm.
So, yep. So, yeah. You're familiar with it. You're probably, unfortunately, at this point, it's probably doing more to bring memories of longing at this point than being being of any real use. Davy Jones, he redeemed some points to have the system say perfect.
So she's probably just like hovering around the tech and looking morose
Okay,
or preoccupied at least.
sure. So at that point, Grace ends up walking in, seeing you kind of hover. She looks like she came into the room where this is disassembled, looking like she was looking for something else entirely. And she says, Lightbringer, why are you looking over the remains of this ship like you lost a friend?
Um, it, it, the origin of the ship is related to someone close to me, and I'm feeling complicated about it.
Hmm. I mean, anyways, it's for the people watching. Play the sound. So she says, did you know the pilot of this craft, or is this? I mean, we understand that it came from your world.
Um, can I bounce something off of you? Um, you have anywhere to be?
Uh, she says, no, right now our priority is getting that portal taken care of, and your friends seem to be diving into that head first.
Okay. I'm gonna go out on a limb. Um, Now, best case scenario, all of this works, and we're able to bring all of you into my world. Um,
Mm-hmm.
who knows how much time will have passed or not passed, or what may have changed since we left.
Right. Okay.
Um,
As you're talking, she just kind of hops up on a table at this point to sit.
so, my teammates and I had a discussion right before this happened, and okay, so we've been together for a little while. Um, it turns out we have a family relation in common, and that's what originally brought us together. Now we're operating under common goals, trying to, make the world a better place and save people that are, you know, in duress.
The typical hero thing. I get it. I understand where you're coming from.
Well, around the same time, I also discovered that on the other side of my family um, is the world's foremost supervillain,
Oh.
who has since mended his ways and established a country where people like us have nothing to fear. And in fact, we've been there. It's really an amazing place, but due to the way that he's seen to the rest of the world, um, it presents some problems trying to stay close to him or associate with him. And it's just been really difficult to try to figure out how to handle that
Hmm.
now that we've become important to each other.
I see. So this isn't just a big reveal and a situation where it was used to manipulate you. This is something, as you've indicated, is it's reciprocal. It's a huh. Well, it's interesting that you should bring this to me. I don't know if I'm the right person for this question, but I guess I'll give
You're
that a shot.
you're the one who asked. Sorry
No,
to leave this in your lap.
no, that's fair. I literally walked into that one.
And that's where this ship comes from, is from from the country that my grandfather founded.
Hmm.
And he's done a lot of good. And in fact, this technology is more advanced than what is available to the rest of the world, and that can be a great boon to us, to our team. Where I mean, you know how the superhero game goes. You're always a step behind and handicapped by your morality. So any leg up that we can get, can go a long way. But again, um, the way that it looks to the rest of the world brings our team under scrutiny, and that
I see.
I don't know what to do.
Um, well, maybe I should explain a little bit about myself. Maybe that might help give some perspective, at least from where I'm from, before I ask you more about your world. On my world, Ruby and I come from the same, I guess, dimension is what we're calling it.
Did you know each other before?
Yes, she was actually a member of my team.
Oh,
Uh,
that's nice.
my team was called the Agents of Change, which sounds very similar to, at least on surface level, from what it is that you and your friends are attempting to achieve. I was faced with a rather delicate situation from the United States government, in which the city that I was, the city and of course the surrounding area that encompassed it, was host to the our world's supermax for supervillains. So the absolute worst of the worst that could not be contained anywhere else. And I don't mean the individuals who rob banks. I mean the individuals who are a threat to nations, to whole cities, that could change the course of.
Like Holocaust.
From what I can tell of, I've yet to actually meet her in hand-to-hand combat, but from what I've heard from Thor and some other reports, she would probably be somebody locked up there. Yes, somebody of that scope. And this was obviously a great concern to the citizens, who didn't exactly have a say in that matter. It was federals came in eventually and put this. It wasn't in the middle of the city, but it was close enough. And needless to say, it caused a great concern for the people who elected me as their mayor. And try as I may, the government obviously would not budge. They wanted this facility here for one reason or another, probably because it was near the home base of my team, and they fully anticipated that I would be donating our time to police this as well.
Okay.
I can't say with any complete certainty, but it did seem that way to some extent. It finally got to the point where I had to look at the needs of my people. Average, anywhere from your wealthy merchants to the blue collar low income housing types who all relied on, the city to provide for them. And I finally had to say enough was enough. And in a quite a big scuffle, I led the city in a secession from the United States,
Oh, wow.
which, if your United States is anything like mine, that probably wouldn't go over well.
I can't imagine it would.
But be it as it may, we held most of the cards as far as strength was concerned. I had probably some of the most powerful individuals on my team, and our world didn't exactly have as many as some of the worlds that I'm hearing of super powered individuals. Like hearing Black Mass retell some of the stories and Fighting American, where they came from, it looks like you couldn't walk down a city block without running into a billboard for one of them or something. But they were not as numerous where Ruby and I were from. To add to the matter, one of the more dangerous quote unquote individuals who had been locked up was a man by the name of Warmaker, or that was the name that he went by, and he had formerly been in essence, a government lapdog who they had locked up. And I found out that some of that may have been perhaps trumped up. He's not the most couth individual. I will give them that. He's rough around the edges. But anyways, it led to quite a battle and a issue between us versus the government. But when all was said and done, I had to look at what I was doing for, lack of a better term, the greater good, and for the people I could do the most help, or I could help the most.
Okay.
Our world started coming to an end shortly after the resolution of that, so I have no idea if what became of it at that point in time. But if there was any advice, I guess, that I could offer to you, there is, you sound like you're closer to the situation than perhaps most. You're probably the best to make your own judgment there. Whatever judgment you make is going to come with some sort of repercussion. Someone's not going to like it, just like what happened on my world. I guess the real question you have to ask yourself is, do you have the resolution to see it through? And is it worth it? I don't know if that helps any. Like I said, I may not be the best individual to ask. I did lead a revolt.
Well, one thing that your situation has brought to mind is that we're extraordinarily lucky in that the person that is my relation ended up, I mean, he's not a crazy psychopath. He's not one of those villains that wants to take over the world or destroy the world. He's not unreasonable. He's intelligent and thoughtful. And it's true that those often make the most dangerous villains. But it also shows that since those are not his motives, I think he really ought to be better regarded. I think people have forgotten about that, and they're just letting public sentiment and history color their opinions.
It could be. I obviously can't speak to that too much, as I don't know your world as you do. But I don't think you're entirely wrong.
Well,
There's always room for a redemption arc.
everybody loves a redemption arc, except the people that don't get to profit off of it.
I think you kind of answered your own question there.
Up to yesterday, it was kind of a moot point, but now it's on the table again. So, well, thanks for being a sounding board.
She says, not at all. I mean, if there's anything I can do to help out, obviously, we're all in this one way or the other.
You have any thoughts to what you'd like to do on the other side? That machine?
I think I'm going to need to, if I'm speaking frankly, I think I need to help find a way for Ruby to acclimate somehow if she's wanting to accept that assistance. Outside of that, I want a warm beach. I want large alcoholic drinks, and I want them to keep coming. And then maybe after a couple days of that, I'll give thoughts to something else.
I think we can accommodate that, assuming that it's much the same as we left it.
Well, keep the faith.
Thanks, Grace.
Of course. Take care. And she grabs a piece that she was looking for and walks back out of the room.
Carmen will go ahead and leave this stuff alone and maybe go get some exercise.
Okay. Alrighty. So, with that being said, you guys are putting together the pieces of the portal, trying to get it together as hastily as possible, but with accuracy in mind. Because again, nobody knows specifically who, what, where, when, and how this is all going to decide to upend. However, as you get to that room, Lightbringer, there's an alert that echoes through the base from Black Mass, and he says, it's an all hands alert. I need everyone in here immediately.
I'll turn around and head back.
Okay.
Hyperion sets his stuff down and heads to the main room.
Okay. So everybody at this point is piling back into that ready room with the multiple screens and whatnot. And he ends up pulling one of them up, but he's actually doing it through magic as opposed to the broadcast feed. It's clear that they have a type of spell of scrying that they can use, and so what they're doing is putting it up on like big screens so everybody can see. And it's an individual who is in kind of like flowing white robes with some sort of like just kind of plain dark blue one piece like jumpsuit sort of look underneath. Dusty kind of brown hair. And when that comes up on screen, Thor, you can hear him gripping Mjolnir tightly, and Fathom, as well as Titan and Diviner, all have looks of consternation because it looks like they've probably run into this guy before. And he says, our friend, emphasis on quote unquote friend, he says, Saker has, looks like, begun casting spells, and he is, from what we can assume, is testing the environment.
Can you tell in what way?
He looks back up there and he says, it doesn't look like he's been successful as of yet, but it looks like he's attempting to manipulate the very fabric of the dimension we're in.
Does he have the ability to do that?
Thor, at this point, looks like he's about ready to, like, belt something out of, some challenge of some kind, when Fathom places her hand on his shoulder and she says, he was the strongest sorcerer from our dimension. He was able to cross dimensions from Midgard to, or from Asgard to Midgard. She says in air quotes, keeping the terms together, as well as the realm of Avalon.
Like the King Arthur Avalon?
And she says yes.
Have we seen this guy before?
No.
Is he one of the good guys?
No.
Okay.
So he has already been able to traverse different realities by himself in the past.
From our dimension, yes. So this is seeing him starting to test the boundaries quite literally, as she says, is alarming. And it's Black Mass says, I concur. He says if he's able to somehow tap in and manipulate the essence of the realm that we find ourselves in,
that would negate a lot of our calculations.
correct. On top of that, he could immediately turn our base into one gigantic stomach.
Also bad.
He says, and he looks and he says, for the time being, he says, and I know you're gunning for this, Thor. He says, Thor, I want Thor, Titan, Diviner, and Fathom. You know him. You know what he's capable of. Tackle him and keep him busy. He says, Grace, I need you to open up a diamond and let's occupy his time. And she opens up a diamond and that group marches off into the great unknown through that diamond. He says, Hyperion, I need your group to expedite this portal and try to get this together as quickly as possible, but I think we're going to need more parts. Thankfully, I picked up another signature that is tied to your the quantum signature seems to be tied to your realm.
Excellent. We can head out immediately if we need.
I would highly suggest that, and knowing that we're engaging Saker right now, time is of the essence. So if you can avoid any dilly-dallying and or any confrontations, that would be best. And call as soon as you're able to reclaim the item. We obviously, like before, can't tell exactly the signature, but it's big. It's reading perhaps bigger than the ship that you stumbled onto. So we're hoping for good things.
Is there a better way for us to bring that material back than the way that we did it before?
Not without risking. Not without a risk that I'm unwilling to put your group through.
Okay.
Presumably, if your friend Shone is able to teleport, she should be able to teleport there and back. It's the problems with this dimension that I don't trust. And since all five of you are key to getting this portal going through, I would rather not risk that.
Of course. Would we have Ruby's assistance if we need to break it down like we did at the previous site?
100%.
Excellent. Then we're ready.
All right, and at this point, Megalith steps up and he's like, "Yeah, I think I'd like to help out on this one too." And he says, and he looks at him. He's like, "Are you sure?" And he says, "Yeah, and if nothing else, I can break some skulls and keep things occupied for him." And he's like, "Oh, all right." Yeah, he walks up and he actually makes Hyperion look a little small. By comparison, not like midget, but like, athletic man to, giant basketball player look sort of thing. Like, ooh.
And they're shown with the Cheshire cat smile.
Would you say he is beefy?
He's very beefy.
Yes. You guys have seen the picture. I have all the comics. I could produce as many images as you would like to drool over. He is beefy.
Interesting.
He is beefy.
He's the whole herd of beef.
So he just, pats Hyperion on the back and he's like, "All right, let's go, little buddy."
Very well.
Okay, so are we teleporting there?
Yeah, and at that point, Grace opens up another teleportation diamond. They're basically trying to keep an eye on both, situations at this point. You guys step through the diamond. You guys are at this point. You drop back down. Boop, boop. It's a nice looking older metropolis city. You can tell that there's a river not too far away. Most of you probably haven't been here. But with your total memory, Hyperion, why don't you give me an intuition check?
Okay. Intuition.
Machine, do intuition.
No, wait, that was wrong. Sorry, I did the wrong thing. EX20, duh. Try it again. White
Even
feet.
worse.
Yeah.
Okay, white feet. So you are unfamiliar with the layout of the city at this point. You can see that the some of the signs here are in English and they are in French. But like I said, older looking city, quite nice and well kept. In the area, as you guys materialize, of course, people start looking. It's like, whoa, holy crud! More people stepping out of that diamond thing. Ugh. And then they just kind of go about doing their thing.
And Hyperion says, "Lightbringer, if you could cloak us, please."
I will do that. Do I need a roll?
Yes. Just give me a psyche check.
Psyche.
I forgot. Green.
You got a green?
Green.
Cool.
Perfect.
All right. So in an instant, you guys are just not there. Then you get a relay from a fuzzy relay, obviously, coming in from Black Mass, and he says the signature looks like it is coming roughly 2 miles north of your of where it is you're at. He says you are in the country of Acadia right now. Montreal specifically.
Well, you think maybe you can throw up one of your copies like you did last time?
That would be the edge of my range. I can go ahead and try. So Hyperion goes ahead and generates a copy, makes sure it's like high up in the sky so it's like not obvious to the people down
Sure.
below, and he sends that north until he can either reach his limit or find the thing.
Okay. Go ahead at this point and give me intuition, another intuition check as you search.
Nice. Green feet.
All right.
Indeed.
So you send up the one, I take it then?
Yeah.
Okay. So you send up the one and then send it down. It's a main street, like all the way down. So it's not, like interweaving to the city or whatnot. Then you're kind of waiting near the street corner, and your quantum image is sailing unmolested through the skies down northward. Megalith is like looking around and he says, "So, do you guys got a Montreal where you're from?"
The province of Quebec in Canada.
Okay. Yeah. Same thing here with me. Are they all like stuck up hockey snobs?
A little bit.
Okay.
Kind of, sort of. They're the capital of the war crimes in our world.
The capital of war crimes.
Oh yeah, they've have the number one. They are the highest rated country for war crimes in our world. Although Germany has the biggest, they have the most.
Acadia? Is it like Canada? Canada has the most war crimes?
Yeah.
Huh.
The Geneva Convention was made because of them. It's the reason why certain weapons are not allowed in warfare, and they.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Because of Canada?
Yeah.
I never heard that before.
Well,
Leave it to those Mounties.
there's arguments, there are other war crimes and stuff like that, but Canadians previously have committed the most number of war crimes, not the biggest war crimes.
Oh.
There's a reason we don't do trench warfare anymore.
Huh.
Canadians are the answer for that.
Okay. I can't speak to that specifically, but okay. So he's just like, wow. Okay. Oh.
I'm gonna have to get a book about that when we get back.
He's like, now that I'm standing here on the street corner, kind of feeling not so comfortable being here. Man. Ugh.
It was mostly before the Geneva Convention, so a lot of things before the 1940s.
Also, these are not real Canadians. These are black body bug people.
Yeah, but it's still Quebec. It's still Montreal. I'm sure they're still nasty at hockey, right? Some things seem to kind of mirror. Anyways, is your friend's like ghost thing back yet? And about that point, as you're flying through the air, taking a good aerial overview of 1994 Quebec, or Montreal specifically, you go down a little ways and you can see, true to form, something else has crashed. In essence, and now that you're seeing this, that's probably what's causing the quantum signature. Now that you're kind of starting to correlate the two, it's something crashing into the this dimension that's causing the signature.
Okay.
And as you look at it, it's the remains of a. Hold on one second.
Tank.
It is the remains of a B-26 Marauder. That is a bomber from World War II, twin engine.
Oh, plane.
Okay.
Wait, like literally from World War II?
Yes.
Okay.
Then Hyperion will say, I've located the wreckage. It is where they said it would be. It seems to be possibly from the past, a World War II era bomber plane.
What's the name on the side?
Does it actually have like a name like a bunch of planes like would have their designations, or would I just know it's a B-26?
You'll actually you're going to need to get your physical body closer if you're going to examine it, because
Okay.
you're up in the air at this point. Basically, what it is, it looks like it came down and it crashed into a neighborhood.
Okay.
So true to form, like you saw before, there's people sitting around looking at it like puzzled, like, what the heck just dropped on my house?
Right.
Yeah. So and it's already in a couple pieces at this point.
Okay. So then Hyperion goes, I'm not able to make out the exact designation, but it has crashed in the middle of a neighborhood. The pseudo people are looking at it as what we've experienced last time. We'll need to get there quickly.
Yeah, I wish I could teleport us, but
Should we fly?
If we fly, we will be making sound with Angler's rocket propulsion, but we may need to do so, unless Hyperion to base. Grace, are you able to make a teleportation diamond if I give you the coordinates of the new destination?
You hear her call through affirmative. I should be able to get you closer. Make it quick though.
Excellent. And he goes ahead and provides, like, what the location is
Okay.
of the thing.
So you end up seeing another diamond open up,
Everyone inside.
and when you step through, at this point you're actually in a nice Canadian neighborhood. At this point, probably it had some nice trees at one point in time until this plane just came in nose first, just bam, 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 bam. So there's like a little bit of a wreckage site strewn about. A couple houses have been clipped. It's already, like I said, it's already in a couple of pieces. It's got its wings kind of broken off nearby it, within about 10 yards apiece. The fuselage kind of hit the street and hit some cars and house and whatnot.
is there any sign of the pilot?
No, as far as you can tell, there's nobody. There's nobody in it.
All right. So now yeah, okay.
I would like to cast a new illusion that is basically like covers over where the wreckage is. Maybe it looks. So what I'm thinking I'd like to do is like put like construction barricades so that it doesn't look out of place. So barricades like around where the wreckage is,
Mhm.
and then make the wreckage look like a car accident or something mundane, a tree fell, that sort of thing.
Okay, so you're trying to obscure the actual craft and make it look more like part of a tree fell. People are going to be cleaning that up. Street damage, blocked off. You're basically trying to make it look more mundane and not like a plane wreck.
Right.
Okay, give me another psyche feat. What is your power rank?
My illusions,
Yes.
incredible.
Oh, geez. Okay, that's not going to be a problem then. However, you're going to need to get a yellow result in order to cover everything because of how far out it is.
I vote for 30 points.
Yeah, we have 150 available, so we could do that if you need it. What would you need to guarantee a yellow result?
I would need to open the chart.
For incredible,
That's
you
usually
need a
helpful.
guarantee of 61. So 30 would take you about halfway there.
That's right, yeah. So 30 is going to guarantee at least a green if you roll at least one.
Green, however, won't cut it.
Right. So I'd be fine if we spent 60 to guarantee a yellow. Maybe it'll get to red. Is that okay with the rest
I'm
of the team?
down.
That'll work.
Okay. Well,
While she's working on her illusion, he's going to walk towards the cockpit and look under the left-hand side, the driver's side, as we would
88.
traditionally see it.
Mhm.
Is the name of Nola Gay there?
No,
Because you said B29, right?
I said B26.
Oh, B26. Okay.
Yeah, B29s are the super fortress.
All right. So with that roll, that keeps it as a yellow result.
So what'd you roll?
takes me to 88.
Oh, nice. Okay. Keep in mind, you will have to focus on this to maintain it.
Okay.
So she takes a moment, steadies herself, stands still, and then drops the illusion on you guys. And then. So now it looks like somebody didn't do their yard work, well enough. A storm blew through or something, and, a branch has landed on a car and whatnot. So they've already got it sectioned off and waiting for people to come. And so at this point, the crowds who are here looking at it, they're like, oh, God, adjusters are coming out. That's not a, and they're like, they kind of, there's still some looky-loos, but the crowd is thinning.
Excellent. All right. So Hyperion starts looking through to see what's it going to take to move all this stuff. Do we have pretty much the entire plane just in a couple of pieces, or less than the plane?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, the entire plane basically came down, and for if you Google it, the B-26 Marauder is actually a medium-sized bomber. So it's not like the big ones that you would imagine that dropped the nukes and whatnot, like what Justin was talking about. And Justin, when you look on the side, it just says Ole Miss.
Okay.
And it's got it's scraped up, but you can see it's got the typical bomber art, of one of the rockabilly women on the side. In fact,
how big have the diamonds been so far?
In fact, 1 second, the art that's on the side, you see the woman. It's a woman in a black catsuit with a whip, and it says Miss Fury.
Nice.
How big have the diamonds been so far?
The diamonds are people sized.
People sized? Okay.
Call for Ruby.
Because if the aircraft is in one piece, if we can get it into a situation where we can just kind of drag it through, that'll be a lot easier than trying to dismantle it all the way down. I could cut off the wings.
The wings are cut off already.
Oh, they are?
Mm-hmm.
With
Basically,
with
the wings have been have when it came down, however it came down, the wings have been sheared off and are off a little. That's one of the reasons why it's more difficult for Lightbringer to cover everything. It's just because of the range of it all. So you got off to either side, the wings are about 10 yards from the fuselage. The fuselage is almost firmly in the street.
When we were moving around at base, would there be any areas in the base that could hold all of this material as it is, or would it need to be cut down?
Yeah, it's going to have to be cut down. Ideally, it would be great to pull it through like that, and maybe you could shove it in a hallway, but then that's going to block everything off of that. So it would be way better if you took a moment to at least cut it down to 3 pieces, the fuselage, and then probably the wings could go as is.
Okay.
The engines themselves will probably have to go separate. So you got your wings, then the 2 engines, then the fuselage, which you'll probably want to cut up in about 3 pieces, and then haul it in. As you're investigating it, however, Angler, why don't you give me an intuition check?
Intuition. My intuition is remarkable.
Very intuitions.
I notice nothing.
Wow. Okay.
He doesn't
Sigh.
see the Enola Gay because he doesn't know the difference between the two aircraft that well because he's a Navy man. But he doesn't see a name that says, "Hi, I can detonate a city." That's what he was worried about.
Sure. Yeah. No nuclear symbol on there, as far as you can tell. As you guys are inspecting the craft at this point, Shone and Xenofreeze, give me intuition checks.
Right in. Oh wow.
I always ask this. Monstrous is MN, right?
Yes.
That is correct.
I'm getting there. Yellow.
Yellow.
Nice.
How did you roll a 75 and get a yellow on MN, and I got a 77 on a good?
I don't know.
Wow.
77 is a good for as a yellow for a good.
So as you guys are looking at the fuselage at this point, trying to decide how you're going to chop it up effectively and start getting it, through the portals as you call for them to be open. At about that time, both Shone and Xenofreeze, you both look on the inside. It's got about half its payload still.
So we got some bombs.
You got some bombs.
Everyone, I believe
We need to be careful.
still have some heavy artillery here. It believes there are explosives. I'm not ultimately familiar, but these look like bombs.
Hyperion recalls his flying copy, and he generates a new one near where they're at so that he can, without touching anything, kind of observe closely to see what's going on with the bombs.
Sure. As you get a closer look, it looks like this plane was probably shot down at some point because you can see in the fuselage there are clearly some pot marks and holes that have gone in here. And yeah, it's got about half its payload of bombs in there. And they're scattered about a little bit. They're not lined up safely.
Okay.
They got jostled when it dropped down hard.
Gotcha. Can I tell what type of bombs? Cluster bombs? I'm assuming not nuclear, or is it nuclear?
That's a good question. You are severely lacking in World War II knowledge, but I will let you have a chance at it.
Okay.
Go ahead and roll your reason. Let me know what result you get.
If he asks out loud, he will actually say that he knows it's not going to be nuclear.
78 yellow feet.
Oh, yellow feet. Okay. Let's see. One second. There we go. And it actually has 2 bomb bays.
How many?
So and we said it's about half. So it is we'll say it's carrying about 4. Actually, scratch that because they don't list it by number; they list it by pound. If you had to estimate it, it is carrying about 2,000 pounds worth of bombs.
That's awesome.
Were you looking at the wiki article as well?
Yep.
So what do we do?
We need to remove the payload first before we can obtain anything else. If any of this is cut in the wrong way, it could detonate.
Do we even have time for this?
We'll need to make time. Base, we will need Ruby's help. However, this wreckage has a bomb payload that we'll need to remove to make sure nothing's damaged.
Okay. Yeah, has Davy Jones. Big boom.
Big bada boom.
Yep. So he says, understood. We're trying to work on a resolution. We'll be sending Ruby through.
Excellent.
And you see a diamond, open up, and Ruby comes walking through, throwing her blue cloak over her head at this point, and looking around. And at that point, Megalith is like, okay, well, these bombs, these are usually hand loaded, so they should be able to be hand loaded off. Do we have a way of daisy chaining those off to speed this up? Like, can you make a bunch of you, Hyperion, and get them off the bomber?
Fortunately, my copies are intangible. However, we can work on at least pulling them off with myself and you, as well as Angler with our strength, and Shone. If you're then able to teleport us to a different location where we can drop off the bombs safely far away and then teleport us back here, that might be the fastest way.
Yeah,
Could she-
because I
could
can
she just-
teleport the bombs away.
Yeah, could she just touch the bombs and take them and come back?
Shone, do you believe you'd be able to disseminate between the bomb and the rest of the plane, since it's still connected to the launch bay?
I can try.
Megalith says, didn't Black Mass say you teleporting around was probably not a good idea?
I would think
So
that
we,
something as volatile as a bomb, we wouldn't want to mess
Heart or
around with.
Volatile is an interesting way to describe them. It's 1940-ish equipment, so you're probably looking at something a little more stable than Wild West dynamite.
Are they still stable after so many years?
We don't know how long through subjective time it's traveled. For the actual pilots, they could have been shot down and it landed here 5 seconds after they were shot down.
That is true, but do we want to take the chance that it hasn't been 500 years?
Speaking of which, Jerome, do we see, like, pilot, co-pilot, any of them within the plane?
No.
Okay. Does it look like they bailed, or they're just mysteriously not where they should be?
Their parachutes are still in place.
Okay. Unfortunately, we don't have any of the previous occupants to determine that. But given this being's ability to reach through different time periods, it seems as if this is extremely recent, since it literally crashed here.
I mean, if it was old, wouldn't the metal and stuff show signs of that?
Possibly, depending on climate conditions of where it was at. It would seem that these bombs are going to be stable, and they're not meant to go off by simply jostling them. If that was the case, of course, it wouldn't be on a plane.
A lot of weapons have an altitude meter inside of them that they have to descend before they'll kick on. By the way, that's a real thing. Certain grenades launched from a grenade launcher actually has to fall a certain distance in its altitude before it will activate the the charge in it. There's a technical word for it. So he's guessing that it's a similar situation. And he will actually start moving the bombs away. One by one, he's being careful.
Bombs away.
If it's a 2,000-pound payload, if you spread that across 50 bombs or 20 bombs, it's still going to be well under his strength to be able to lift them up and carry them by himself.
So are you just dumping them on a lawn for the time being?
He's setting them away from the plane, but within the Brittany's cordon.
Okay. All right. So at that point, then Megalith starts pulling some of them off as well, with all of you guys.
I wouldn't suggest flinging them around, but pick them up, set them down. They should be fine. People hand load. He absolutely right. These were hand loaded. They were probably using a crane. They don't have our strength, more than likely. So
Hyperion will help move them too.
As long as we don't play hot potato.
Yeah. So okay, the three of you start lining up and just kind of carefully taking them, shuffling them off of the.
Sean, how good are you at controlling your electricity? Can you generate it into a single line like a torch or a cutter?
Yeah.
You might want to, while we're working on this, you could break off the engines off of the wings and just arc weld them off.
Would it be better to make sure the bombs are completely off first?
Can you lift the bombs?
No.
So we all stay busy. We get out of here as quickly as possible before the antibodies, as we're calling them, get wise to what we're doing.
The wings are away enough from the fuselage that it shouldn't be an issue, right?
Correct.
Oh, before you do that, smell for fuel.
Okay.
Okay, I have to ask this question because Justin knows, but I don't know if Freddie would know. Fuel is often stored in the wings. Would Freddie know that?
Probably not.
Okay, then he is advising to smell for fuel just to make sure it isn't like littered around on the ground. Because it has been shot down, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent point.
So as I'm looking at some of this stuff, because I have a talent of astronautics, I know it's more along the lines of space propulsion, such like that, right? But it's for the avionics in that aspect, which would include, I would assume, rockets and rocketry, at least to some degree. Are these still functional?
Well, that doesn't fall necessarily within the scope of your ability. You can still try to examine it, but it doesn't fall within the scope because there's no rocket nature to any of this to any part of this vehicle.
I mean, of the because the bombs are just gravity fed, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. All right. Oh yeah.
Okay, well, she will smell for gas before trying to use her powers.
Well, just give me an intuition check then.
Pardon me, that was that Taco Bell last night. Sorry, I had to.
Yellow.
Okay, so you do end up smelling some gasoline. However, you don't smell it coming from the engine in particular. It looks like the fuel lines weren't actually in the wings themselves. It was actually held in tanks. And the tanks have actually been severed from the vehicle.
Okay, well, then she'll use her zappers.
So you're gonna make a spark with your finger and start cutting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So between that, you and Ruby, you're starting to accelerate the pace at this point and getting the parts separated and hauling them through. Well, at this point, getting them separated while Lightbringer covers everybody. The stronger individuals are having to deal with the bombs first, getting them out of the way.
What's the weight capacity of an EX-20?
You max out at 800 pounds.
Okay, so I am doing what I can as far as like moving stuff to the staging area because we don't have a diamond open right now, do we?
Not yet, no.
So to a staging area with ice slide, I can obviously probably push a lot more than 800 pounds, especially if it's on ice.
If you put it on ice, yes, you can actually slowly start pushing some. Pardon me. Slowly
Right.
start pushing
I
something.
mean, probably something close to a ton if it was on ice. If I've got a lifting capacity of 800 pounds, I would venture to say just pushing it, but one way or another. Anyway, to the best of my capacity, staging stuff, lifting together with somebody or
Sure.
having some of the more muscle kind of
If
come
you
up. And
can-
if it is, I can always utilize my abilities to put more ice underneath something and slant it down to where it'll slide much more easy and use gravity to my advantage too. So
if you can consolidate the area so that things are not so spread out, that could probably help me too.
right, that's fine.
And so with that, as you guys are starting to consolidate and reduce and reuse, and of course get the bombs off of the remainder of the fuselage, you end up getting another report from Black Mass saying that you have incoming, and if you can do what you can to hide.
Good grief.
Incoming what?
At this point, all you hear is static.
Where are we gonna hide?
We need to see if we can acquire the electronics and controls of this plane as well as the arsenal. That way we can effectively abandon the rest of it if necessary.
We might not have time. If he's telling us to hide, they're close.
Are we not cloaked? Will that not...
No, you are not cloaked. The
we're not?
vehicle itself is cloaked to look
Oh,
like.
I thought we were. I
Nope.
thought as soon as they come into the area.
No, I specifically stated the cloak on you guys was dropped so that way you could cover basically the neighborhood and the wrecked plane. So it looks like it's blending in like it's just a neighborhood problem. It's not you guys dealing with a plane fuselage and everything strewn about.
Could I just expand the area so that we're like within the like a dome kind of a thing, so that we're within it?
However you define it is fine. You're still going to need to make an effort to, if you're going to, boost, in essence, the output of your illusion.
Do you want to chance me dropping the other one to change it?
I will let all of you guys decide that.
Um,
You already know how difficult the first one was.
if we
Just 'cause I
if we drop it, then we have a chance of losing everything.
Yeah, are we? I mean, we're within a neighborhood. There's like
Yeah, is there cover?
like houses nearby.
Yeah,
that
you want to jump into a house, you absolutely can.
Am I hidden?
No, you're having to stand your ground to maintain the illusion.
Oh my gosh. What a mess.
into the nearby house. Maintain the illusion as it is. Don't drop it. And
Well,
I carry on.
that leaves Lightbringer out in the open.
Oh, she literally like can't move.
Right.
Oh,
She's having to focus to keep this big illusion
Give me a
cast.
branch, and I'll like
yeah. We'll hold 2 branches.
I'll
The
make
tree.
like a tree.
I'll make like a tree and leaf.
Okay.
Great.
She's like the Christus statue in freaking Brazil, you know. She's like, oh, hi everybody, I'm just right here, top of the hill.
Hug me,
yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, for Justin, that's Huggy Jesus.
Like, geez.
Yep.
Team 4-star has ruined my sense of humor.
Can you drop your illusion and transfer it to hide us? They will see it, but we'll have a chance to retaliate if we need.
To hide us only, or to hide the entire scene?
Hide
So
us.
You can hide. You can hide you. You can attempt to hide everything, or you can attempt to hide just the wreckage and have everybody else try to hide. But obviously, the downside there is you stay out in the open.
Can't leave you here as a sitting duck. It'd be obvious. And if you had to defend yourself, you'd drop the illusion anyway. The effort would be lost.
That's true.
We need to hide. We don't need this to hide. It just gave us an opportunity. We've lost that now. We have to acclimate to the situation.
What about the bombs? I don't want to leave them in the open.
We don't have a choice. We don't have a way to quickly manage it.
Okay, so
Are you planning
cover
on
us.
dropping your illusion?
So out of character, you are now at the point where you have to make a decision.
Yeah.
Try
We
to
gotta
cloak
hide.
Illusion.
us.
How close are the houses?
They're directly across the street from one another. It's a neighborhood, so you have a street that separates them.
Are there any fences?
We're getting into minutia here. A couple.
I want to try expanding the illusion.
Okay. And do you want to spend any karma to do so?
All of it.
Yep, not all of it.
I don't know. I kind of feel like we should just chance it, because whatever's coming at us might be worse.
Yeah, we have 90 available right now.
Don't you have a reroll that I gave you at one time?
I used it.
Yeah, she used that one. She used the one I gave her.
Okay, so going once.
Okay, I'm just gonna try it cold turkey.
Okay.
They had cold turkey samples at Costco today.
Oh, don't you know?
Yellow.
Yellow.
Oh.
Yay.
Nice.
Nice. So at this point, you guys can sense something coming from Carmen, and she's she's visibly struggling at this point. As you end up seeing Holocaust fly over.
Oh my gosh.
And she ends up dropping down with some hairy looking creature. It's got it has kind of bug eyes, and when I say bug eyes, I mean like the solid black, no pupil, or like otherwise it looks kind of like a teddy bear thing, kind of without ears.
Demonic Teddy Ruxpin.
And she drops down, and it drops down. It's man sized, and they're like looking around a second, and they don't see anything, and it seems to be like going around, and you can hear it kind of sniffing, even though it doesn't really have a nose per se. And she's looking around again. She's like, I could have swore it was here.
Show's not even breathing. She's holding her breath.
So
Yeah.
Megalith looks a little confused at first, but then he realizes that everybody is like not moving. Something is happening because nobody explained to him what it was you were doing. So he's just
So-
like he's kind of picking up. It's like, okay, we're not moving for a reason,
Yeah.
sort of thing. Like he's like looking around. It's like he's picking up on it. Yes, he's not dumb. He's not all of a sudden going like, "Oh shucks," But it took him a second to realize, okay, why aren't we running? Like, why aren't we fighting? It's like, oh, somebody's doing something.
Yeah, Sean will take his hand, kind of
Of course.
keep him there.
Put
And
your
so-
finger on your lips.
And
Yeah.
so you end up seeing she looks around again and then flips her long kind of black hair and curses, and she jumps further away. At this point, looks like she's clearly on the hunt.
Along with the bug-eyed
Yes.
evil Teddy Ruxpin.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Once they're a sufficient ways away, then Hyperion will go. Well done, Lightbringer. We need to redouble our efforts now.
Yeah, she will be coming back for sure.
Hurry it up, would you?
So
You guys can actually start to see a little bit of blood trickling down from Lightbringer's nose.
Okay. Do we have at least some pieces available to put
Oh, yeah.
through a diamond? Okay.
Yep.
So then Hyperion will go. Hyperion to base. We need a diamond.
Okay, so you see another diamond open up, and you hear another message come through. You guys need to hustle. We had to pull back from the Saker fight.
Understood. Holocaust is in our area. We're working at double speed. Everyone move. Push everything you can into the diamond.
He
Okay.
grabs the engines.
Okay, so you guys start, hustling and whatnot, and Megalith, it's like he grabbed one of the other engines, no problem, and he starts like putting it through, but it's clear something's on his mind. He starts looking, he starts kind of doing like one of these numbers, like can he still see, far enough back, and he's like, I wonder.
you wonder what?
And he walks over real quick. He's like, you guys keep pulling the stuff through. I've got an idea.
Understood. Be careful.
And so he walks over to the pile of bombs, and he grabs one, and he can palm it. It's a largely oversized football to him, but he can actually palm it, no problem. And he grabs one real quick, and he actually kind of, pats it real quick like he's about ready to, throw a tight spiral, and he's like, huh! And he lobs it really hard straight down the street. And you see it go just like a really nice tight spiral as he goes flying. And he says, we should probably hurry.
Oh my gosh!
And so with that, he grabs, one of the wings. He's like dragging it over as you guys are starting to pull the thing. And then you see down the street a little ways.
Are you serious?
And he says, yeah, I think I nailed her.
Oh, you hit her?
And he says, yeah, it's not going to keep her busy for long. I just couldn't, I
Kill
couldn't
her?
pass up that opportunity.
He will actually grab the avionics,
So
just the whole console.
you don't have to grab the whole console. You can pick up the front cab essentially and start pulling it through.
Okay, then that's what he's doing. He's grabbing important bits.
Yeah,
He's
so
not worried about spare metal.
Yeah, so spare metal is something you guys are going to need too. So you guys are pulling the pieces through at this point, and you can actually see like something like start jumping, like from the explosion. He's like, Megalith's like, okay, no, I got this one. He's like, okay, come on, Esiason, we got this one, and just hurls another one, like lobs it, down the way, and you end up seeing like she's apparently not flying; she's super leaping. But super leap, she can't adjust her flight patterns, obviously. And so you end up seeing like it go down, and then it goes, and you see her like go flying back down into the ground and like strike down to the ground. He's like, Yeah.
Showing some love.
He grabs the other wing, pulls the other wing through.
So you guys have gotten most of the pieces through at this point, and he just wildly hucks like two more down the way just for distraction purposes as everybody starts come running back through, and closes the diamond up real quick. And as he's doing that, he grabs a hold of like Lightbringer's shoulder, forcing the illusion to go down, obviously, and he just hucks her through the portal and follows through.
Excellent job, everybody.
I was so tempted to throw a plasma bolt through at the bombs. Like, so tempted. Oh, I'm angry. I want to beat some up. Oh, this is going to hurt.
Lightbringer's gonna go get a drink.
Okay. And probably clean up her face.
Sit down a minute.
And so, yeah, at that point, you can see that all the others made it through, but they look like they went through a war and a half. Titan and Thor specifically look like they took the brunt of it.
Are you guys okay?
Titan at this point is now down human size. And he says, "Yeah, I think I need an ice pack." Oh,
I got you. She'll get one for hitting as well. And once she gets back to the group, if anybody looks like they need first aid, she'll jump in.
okay.
Start.
And while this is going on, he's going to start using his plasma to act as a plasma cutter and break things down into more digestible bits.
Cool, that'll work. Okay, so everybody starts doing it, cutting down pieces, getting things into shape, per se. Hyperion, why don't you go ahead and give me your hyper invention roll now that you've got quite a bit of scrap metal that you can start getting this thing together.
Gotcha.
Does he get any bonus from me working with him?
Not on hyper invention, no.
All right. Yeller.
Hello, feet.
Nice. Okay.
Get
So
it?
which did you start off with, the battery or the portal?
Going for the portal first because once that's made, figure out how the battery is going to situate itself in there.
Okay. So now with all the scrap that everybody's cutting down and assembling and putting together, you are starting to get the physical pieces of this portal device put together.
Okay.
Cool.
And as he's doing that, he says, all right, excellent job, everyone. Lightbringer, Xenofreeze. We've also been tasked with creating an arcane battery. While I'm finishing up the minutiae here with the portal, if you both could work on seeing if you can create at least the preliminary parts for the battery. Once I'm finished with this, I can then make sure that it'll actually integrate with the rest of the machine.
How does one store arcane energy?
Apparently within a ruby.
What was that?
Apparently within a ruby.
Oh,
Ms. Mystic asked for the creation of this so that it could act as a backup, if not an additional power source for the portal.
I thought I was the power source.
You are the primary power source, but if for whatever reason your energy is not enough or something happens, we'll have a backup just in case. Better to have that ahead of time rather than try to create something the moment we're trying to leave.
Good idea.
could be really interesting
What
if we could.
Is there anything I can do to help?
if you're able to help me, I might need some electrical charges placed in order to make sure that everything works properly with this machine. I'll let you know what to charge and when.
Okay.
Could be interesting if we were to be able to integrate the battery to Chone's powers in general so that maybe she could use it at a later time.
That's a good point. But for
How
now,
would she
we
be able
do-
to integrate the arcane energy with her own? Hers is not arcane.
I don't know, but
I don't want to end up like. Bingo.
not that your powers need any amplification, but I mean on a normal basis. Oh, just an idea.
It's a
I think the battery's a
Interesting
good
concept.
idea because none of us are magical specialists and none of us are trans-dimensional jumper specialists either. So if we have a backup for our primary plan, that's a good thing.
I agree.
Sure.
Okay,
Excellent.
Hyperion, lead the way.
Okay.
Excellent.
And then
Let me know if you need any of that metal slagged, and I can get it slagged down, and you can shape it the way you want.
and to that point, during this time frame, Black Mass would also come to Hyperion about attempting to make a trans-temporal spike.
Is that like a weapon?
No, it's the device that we talked about or was mentioned last game, I think. It's
So we
just
can all go see Hollywood.
No, it's the in essence a spike that would help. Again, he's not asking to make it, but the double checking the plans for its creation because it's not going to do any good here. But in essence, it's to help.
To lock this
Yeah,
dimension.
Exactly.
So
Yeah. In essence, keep the temporal and dimensional energies aligned on the Earth Prime when you guys get through to prevent any additional incursions from this realm.
Yeah. So then Hyperion will stop what he's doing real quick and go ahead and take a look at their plans and see what they've got.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead and give me a reason check?
Would this spike also inhibit them from invading other dimensions?
No, it's only to lock out the energy resonance from this realm to the next.
So got a white feed.
Okay, yeah. So you're not too certain. Your mind's probably preoccupied with getting the portal together.
I wish we could do something to where it would lock it down, because I understand that we may not be able to at this current juncture in time, but preserving ourselves and our world, as it may be, at the sacrifice of potentially other worlds seems selfish.
It may, but we need to have a home base that's safe first.
Absolutely. I do understand that. I understand it may be a means to an end at this current point in time, but just something to keep in mind for future reference. I just hope that there's not ramifications to other worlds because we have locked them out of ours.
Only time will tell.
Yes.
Okay, and that is where we're going to go ahead and call it for tonight. It's a little bit of a shorter game for this one because the next one's obviously going to be bigger. It's the potential
battle.
It's the potential we go home trip. So, which, as we stated before, That is going to be happening on August the 5th. So if you guys want to tune in for that, please do. Same bat time, same bat channel. Next week is our Cyberpunk and Street Fighter games on Wednesday and Thursday, respectively. And then next Saturday will be Ashland by Night Blood Ties. So tune in to check that out. That'll be at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on Saturday. So thank you guys for hanging out with us and tuning in to watch. Oh, and then one last thing. In August, from the 11th to the 13th, some of us will be at the Game Expo convention.
Game on.
Or Game On Expo. That's right. Yeah, Game On Expo. So if you are local to Phoenix, please stop by and check us out. We're hosting more panels. We'll have a banner this time. Fancy stuff. So for that weekend, we're obviously not going to have any games because we'll be taking up with other stuff. So, but if plans change, we'll let you know. But that's what's probably going to happen then. So anyways, thank you guys for tuning in, checking us out, and catch us on the video replays. And have a nice night. Good night, guys.
Good night.